Go to rebuildingtheman.com if you want an autographed copy, or call 800-411-2663.
Like my cousin, like sent me you, and I thank him for that. It was more of a, he thinks the whole like everything's a joke. That just adds a little spice to it. But in the heart of what you're saying, there is real things going on. And people want to overlook that. And I'm telling you, Mr. Peterson, I'm not one of those people. And I thank God that, he showed you to me. And sometimes we just need some Jesse in our lives, I guess.
I wish we had more brothers like you. We need more brothers like you. Just because we don't have most guys that can, lead black people into the right direction. And I thank you for that, because a lot of people will be like, man, it's still going on. It's racism. And I try to tell them, like, watch his show. Listen to this brother. He's telling the truth.
Take no thought about tomorrow. Yesterday doesn't exist. And you're going to see, man, God is with us, and all is well. So, here's what I recommend. I invite you to download my silent prayer, and I want you to start doing it. You just download it, get the points of how to do it, and then after a while, you just do it on your own. It's going to point you in the right direction, that your life will be returned to you from God. He will give you your life back, because anyone and all people who has anger, they're not themselves. You are the person that you are angry at. That's why it's so important to get to know yourself, so that you can see who you're angry at. And if you're doing the hooping and hollering prayers and things like that, some people get up, oh, praise the Lord, hoop and holler, bless my mama, bless my daddy. Continue to do it. Do both. You will see if you want to stay with the hooping and hollering, or do you want to be still and know God. So my gift to you, no charge, at rebuildingtheman.com/church. We have a counseling service, and I have to admit, thanks to God, it is the best counseling service on this side of heaven. I counsel with men and women, families, individuals around the world. Most people are unhappy, they're miserable, they have rough lives, they're depressed, suicidal, young and old, of all races. I understand, I know why, and I do understand it. Because exactly what's happening in me is happening with everybody outside of me, inside of them. And I've noticed that with those who really, really, really want to understand, they overcome it just like that, out of one counseling session. If you need counseling, you can go to rebuildingtheman.com or call 800-411-2663. 800-411-BOND. Best counseling service on this side of heaven. Isn't he Mexican?
Colombian.
He calls himself American.
What is this?
Anchor Baby.
And in this corner, it's the American Anchor Baby.
Daddy's home. That's an offensive term. People find that hurtful.
You mean it's not politically correct? Excuse me. I'll use the word anchor baby. He's an anchor baby in Canada.
Tell him we still rolling with Trump, too.
Anchor baby, the whole thing sounds horrific. You're just making it sound like immigrants are these horrific, greedy people.
Ustedes pueden aceptar mi negocio o aceptar las consecuencias. Plata o plomo.
So you would be considered white, in my opinion.
You the blackest one in this room,
I think so.
And what happened was his mama got pregnant on the other side of the border, and then a few hours before, just before it was time for him to pop out, she jumped across the border and let him fall on American soil. So he became the anchor baby. They don't call him the anchor baby for nothing. Amazing.
We like this anchor baby, right?
Hello, I'm the American Anchor Baby. This is my show. Thanks for tuning in, folks, on this fine Tuesday. What a fine Tuesday it is to be back with you today. Hail, Lord Nid. I see all of you in the chat. Okay, the Anchor Baby's here. We got a bit of a show. Continuation of what's going on. I mean, it's so fascinating. I mean, just have people's reactions to everything. The conservatives' reaction, there are some big names. They're just like, chill out, Trump. I don't know about this ICE stuff. All sorts of questions, and it's just interesting, you know, how it should have gone and how the country should go. Call it a revealing moment, maybe, but where do you stand? Do you want society to continue or not? And who will win? But anyways. Very interesting, and it seems like some of this this anti-white, anti-American order is holding on and is shown that it's willing to, use lawfare, use, and allegations and evidence coming out of coordination in the background using, social media, Democrat officials being shown, allegedly, there's stuff coming out, coordinating some of this stuff. And so they're holding on. They're holding on for dear life. And this order is going to keep going. See, they're willing to do all this. And it seems like, is there a middle ground here? Because they're, willing to set on fire like the institutions. F you to the law itself. And in many ways, I think a lot of people they either harbor such some sympathies with these people, or in a large way are, like brainwashed, or just kind of easily cajoled into understanding and supporting it because of certain things, right? It looks wrong. And you end up supporting like the end of law itself. I mean, these people are like demons. Okay. So I want to get into some of these things. I mean, kind of go over maybe even 2020. I know Floyd over and over. Well, you remember Tim Walz? I remember Jacob Fry was the mayor and he was crying over that golden casket. But yeah, Tim Walz was the governor during this time too. And I know that Trump's record, they say he backed down and all that. I want to kind of go over that. I'm going to go over a number of things. It's interesting to see in perspective and a number of things, okay? They're parading the ladies, Melania, DHS spokesman, and it's like, are you guys feeling the heat or something? Because it's like the ladies are like, no, it's not. He wasn't a terrorist. Let's unite, please. Is there any uniting? They're committed to defrauding America, looting it, and then crying racism. There's no such thing as racism, by the way. JesseLeePeterson.shop. So more prescient than ever, or is that the word? In these times of indecorum. That's not English. We're not speaking English. We stopped speaking English. Welcome to the show. Look, we'll get into a number of things. 888-775-3773. If you got something on your mind, something you want to talk about, something you want to get off your chest, you're welcome to, by all means. Okay, 888-775-3773. Welcoming my viewers. How y'all doing? I see you guys. Fry still eating that Somali slop. I mean, look, only Fry can do it. Okay, we're totally misusing his skills. That's hilarious. What's up, cuz? Okay, Ivana. Remember Jacob Fry eating that Somali? That face he did is like about to yak that up. Like, nope. He was able to do it. King of the Somalis. I'm impressed. But look, I'm welcoming my viewers here on Rumble. How you doing? Rumble.com/American Anchor Baby. What's up, Jules? I don't know, Nick. Is there a middle ground? If there is, I don't see it. And I'm talking about law and order, okay, like deporting illegals? Can you impede law enforcement? Can we have laws? Can voters vote for something like, hey, we voted for Trump, we want no illegals? Deal with this. Can those things? How you doing, Mildew Grew? Slave to him. Appreciate your support. Okay, and my people on punchy.tv/anchor, baby. Incredible. Okay. Ilya Omar's still living in our country, says Pew Freedom. I mean, it's part of like how, that Band-Aid hasn't been ripped. The order stays. Can it be a good phone call, or do you got to bring in the military? Is a lack of an insurrection act totally bad? I mean, I want to go over that in 2020 with you here. So let's jump into some stuff here. Welcoming my viewers, okay? And, of course, here on YouTube. Don't be rude. Click the like button. You see how rude people are? They're out there, impeding law enforcement. And then a bunch of people, and I imagine many of them decent. Some of them, I imagine, decent. Others harboring sympathies. But they're out there saying they're citizens. We're great citizens out here. We're just protesting citizens. First Amendment. That's not being a citizen. That's not showing decorum. No decorum does not mean a good American citizen. Okay, so click the like button, be a good American citizen, or you can join the throngs of Minneapolis, the shrieking, gnashing throngs. Okay. So I appreciate it. Thank you. Clicking that like button. Don't be rude. Leave a comment. Say hello. We see you. Okay. Incredible. What are y'all saying here? As I look at the snake pit, I say never mind. Cloud Bops. Nick is afraid to read the snake pit out loud. I'm not reading your incantations. But thank you for being here. How you doing, everybody? Anyways. I got a couple things on my mind. Kind of loosey-goosey here. There's this just persistent order. I mean, I don't know how else to put it. Being using my little language here, but look, this order. It's like they hate America. They're committed to looting it. And then they got everybody who's in on the game. How can we increase all these taxes? I mean, they say it out loud, right? Mamdani, others, they're like, we need to tax for the buses and all that, and we're going to tax the white people. There's this just persistent order, and it's like it keeps increasing. We know this. They come in, they're like, well, but not all immigrants are the same. They're all voting Democrat. They're like protesting. Like, oh, I don't know about ICE. Maybe some more than others, whatever. But nowhere else, at least recently, in recent memory, at least especially, you know how the memory is, what's the most like exciting thing? What's happening right now? Nowhere else is in Minneapolis, in Minnesota, has this been kind of been shown to be so deeply embedded. And that's like already too light because it's across the country. Might even have to get into that later. But we're seeing all sorts of noise. There's a credible fraud. Jacob Fry, the Democrats are like, yeah, no, it's real. They're like looking side to side. It's real, right? Get them. Go get them, right? That's just my opinion, right? Looking real guilty. And so it's just like deeply embedded, and it's like brazen. We've been talking about it for a bit now. You're seeing it. And they're out there. You're seeing this community of people. I've had some people reach out to me. They're like, I don't know about all this. It's so interesting. I wake up, I see the news, Sean Hannity, a whole bunch of people are like, I don't know about all this. It's just looks wrong. It looks wrong. And so I could tell from the get that this persistent order is going to be is partly in place because there's no maybe true challenge. Okay. It seems like when you have the law behind you, the votes behind you, and people saying out, and they're defending fraud and all that. If it just looks wrong, and you get people shouting together, like that's like a community of people, and and the people who are like doing the violent action, they're like so evil. People are so simple, right? Emotional is the word. So emotional. So I see all the emotion. I'm like, wow, okay, so this isn't really going anywhere. Or it's really just at the beginning, or what am I saying here? Like, this order is freaking out, reacting violently. And if there's not like a tough response to it, then it wins, I guess. That's just how I see it in my mind. I could be wrong. I might be wrong in this coming time. We'll find out. But we're coming to see that it's not, there's one of the things I'm hearing. Well, maybe Minnesota wants it that way. If Minnesota wants it that way, what? Look at this community of people out there. They're just defending each other. These are neighbors. And maybe they just want it this way. And on that, this is why this is such a conversation. We're debating the nitty-gritties of that. Where does a state get to say no to the federal government? Where do agitators, I'll call rioters, they're not protesters, okay? A protest is like, I'm holding it right. A protest is not following agents around. A protest is not, you don't follow agents around on some social media signal app or whatever, coordinating with a whole bunch of people saying they're over here, they're over there, this is their license plate, this is their name, doxing them, this is where they're staying, show up, do this. Those aren't protests. And it's coming out, this was a scoop from Libs of TikTok, okay? There was all these rumors, too, of, like, Democrat officials involved with these. They were saying some big names, too, and I just didn't even report on that because I'm like, where's the evidence? But, okay, we're getting these scoops that they're saying they're infiltrating. I imagine it's not that hard to infiltrate, but infiltrating these anti-ICE watch groups, as they're called, or whatever. And in this scoop from Libs of TikTok, Minnesota State Rep Brad Tabke is personally sending out the invites for the anti-ICE watch group to coordinate the doxing and harassment of ICE agents. And they show these emails purportedly from him. This is apparently his email. I mean, Brad Tabke. Exactly that, a Zoom meeting to join this Scott County ICE Watch Zoom. That's what it reads here, right? And then people were posting like the training manuals and stuff that were being shared by these people, right? Whistles. Look, you gotta get. You're seeing this in action, right? Here's the slide on whistles. Libs of TikTok put their big old watermark here. We're trying to get the info here, Libs of TikTok. It says, blah blah blah. Okay, when to whistle when you know it's ICE. There are 2 or more individuals that encounter ICE, right? Disruptive tactics that are being shared now by, so-called alleged infiltrators of these things. I mean, they're saying Democrat reps here are doing it, right? This is the most credible thing I've seen on a Democrat official, right? So these aren't protests, okay? And when do those people in the street get to say, like, that's the exact debate here. I mean, do these people in the street just get to say, well, America, actually, you can't deport people. Well, America, you actually have to keep the order. No, you know what, America? The looting continues. because we're a community. We're holding hands and we're Americans. Not so much. Right. I guess that's just my opinion, right? Take it up with all those people. Those people are haters. There's no spirit of America there. Okay. So where was I here? Some of what's been going on there, you get it. That's the stuff I hear. And I was thinking about some parallels here, if I may pull it up. Just out of just posterity, it's just interesting. I have my own personal feelings about Trump and all that. But, you know, the results, despite my feelings, I mean, I want you to kind of make your conclusion here. Because I'll say, look, it's not, I don't think it's as simple as he totally backed down in 2020. But maybe that's a fair characterization in a certain perspective. 2020, you remember, police, George Floyd. Oh, Lord. But anyways, this one, again, Minneapolis again. Governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz at the time, Jacob Fry, same actors, the same Ilhan Omar, the same people. And you take it back to then, and there was this guy got himself killed, acting crazy, and on drugs, lots of drugs. And for all the minutiae, the debate you could have had this or that, all the people, all the regular people who know that, who want to have a society that works, know that even with Preddy, you could say that was an accident, or Floyd, maybe he should have, whatever. It's clear you don't put a knee there, but whatever. I don't agree. But the people who want society to continue know that debate is far downstream, or it's just less important than having law enforcement, right? They were saying defund the cops. And it was also built on a total lie that America's racist to black people. Not since I've been around, but where was I? So George Floyd, right? They come out of Minneapolis, Minnesota, focal point. This one went nationwide. I mean, it's stemmed out of there. Tim Walz, now Jacob Fry, Tim Walz at the time, they were saying the stuff they were saying now. Tim Walz was calling it a murder. He understood the anger of the people out there, that their anger is real, he said. You know, telling the people what he's saying now. Hey, to the protesters, to the agitators, get in their faces. Film them. Now, what's the connection here? Then it's ostensibly, it's well, he's standing up against racism, and they're killing black people in the streets, and his people, his Minnesotans are angry, and so he's got to stand up for them, and their protest. It's the voice of the people. On the surface, right? But so then here it's what? Well, these are illegals and all that, but they're people too, and there are people, and you see, it kind of starts you start kind of losing the point a bit. I mean, you could stretch it. They just seem to be opposed to, well, actually, I'll get to that in a second, but going back then, he was saying the same things, agitating the people, and many remember Trump's law and order stance. I mean, I remember him telling leaders to deal with things, and there was talk of the Insurrection Act. Deploying the National Guard. He famously, I think he tweeted or something. I forget where he wrote this or said this. When the looting starts, the shooting starts. And you remember those? Remember, the George Floyd riots were crazy. There was fire. They were looting all this stuff. The targets. Remember the old lady The old lady in the wheelchair. I forget what she was doing. They were like just throwing stuff on her and just abusing her. I mean, it was crazy. It was just crazy. They were just attacking people in the streets. 2x4s to the face. Like, people died. And he's like, when the looting starts, the shooting starts. It's like, whoa. Now, what ended up happening was, so let me remember this. Like, let me see where I wrote this down. Because there was like those threats of the Insurrection Act, and then kind of increasing calls of like, hey, do something about it. Why isn't he doing something? And it went to like a phone call with Tim Walz. Let me see where I put this. It went to like a phone call with him, essentially, where he called him. He's like, I need to talk to Walz, because what's going on here? And basically, he comes out. He's like, they called this a what's the word? Like, they called it. They criticized him for it back then too. Like, he's going soft or something here. Tim Walz deploys 7,000 National Guard troops. They called it the largest in state history. Start coming down on the protesters or the rioters, and Trump Trump. So June 1st, he has that call. Trump praises Walz. He says he dominated them. He knocked them out so fast, those rioters, whatever, like bowling pins, and he praised his handling of the situation at that point. And that's how that went down. I mean, what came of it? I mean, you know, my personal like view of Trump then and even now, it's like he's this guy who like he cares about law and order, right? Like, he's tougher than a lot of these like just talk people, but yet he doesn't want to cross lines. He's very careful at crossing lines well, I guess certain ones. When it comes to like this, what I'm thinking about right now is the states, right? The states versus the government. You know, crossing a line here, invoking the insurrection. Like, has that ever happened? It's like, what? Where are we going with the country? You know, I gather he thinks about those things, and you know, it's just my thinking that he's not someone that wanted that to happen. So I'm not mad at him for it, right? Like, I don't hate him for it. Like, I don't think he wanted any of that to happen. That being said, what was the like conclusion? I mean, in one way you could say, well, he strategically de-escalated that whole thing. I guess that situation. But this whole de-escalate, I mean, defund the cops and all that. I mean, that I think has found an enduring order in this country. I mean, they used it against him in 2020. They say part of, I don't know how badly it hurt him, but that's just like my personal thoughts of Trump. I don't think he wants any of that, but hey, the conclusion is though, well, with Walz back then, I mean, maybe that ended, but they say, I mean, what's going to happen with this? Now, I'm seeing like these women. I'm seeing these women come out, right? And they're like, they're just doing like the media rounds. Like, forget this one. I think was on like CNN, right? No, this was Fox News. Let me see here. I'm seeing them going on the media circuit, just like, hey, no, it was a tragedy. You know, that wasn't. That's not a terrorist. We take that back. It's like, that is a terrorist. This is an ad, folks. Look, I don't know what to tell you. This is another ad. It's just Ad Central.
The
White House has labeled the man who was killed in Minnesota as a domestic terrorist. Is that something you agree with? And have you seen any evidence to
when
back
you
up that
perpetuate
claim?
Violence against a government because of ideological reasons and for reasons to resist and perpetuate violence, that is the definition of domestic terrorism. This individual who came with weapons and ammunition to stop a law enforcement operation of federal law enforcement officers committed an act of domestic terrorism. That's the facts.
Trisha,
you get him, Christy. So then she's getting a lot of flack for that, saying that they're going on all the news, getting a lot of flack, calling him a terrorist. You mean you guys removed the gun from him? This was a murder in the streets. So they bring out another woman.
Department and the secretary pulling back that label of domestic terrorist from the.
You know, man, there's just all this footage. Look, you get it. I don't feel like digging through this. Okay, but you see her blonde and going on. No, it's we're pulling back from that. They got Melania. Now Melania didn't come out to do a statement on this. She was just on Fox and Friends talking about her new movie. Okay, Melania coming out. I don't know. I forget. The Bezos funded this. No, something like that. Some movie coming out. Okay, so she's just doing that, but she comments on the thing. Okay, she comments on what's happening now. A rare political statement from Melania.
We need to unify. I'm calling for unity. I know my husband, the president, had...
You're the president, Melania. It was just a little slip. She threw it in after. She's like, the president. Okay. A little, it's like my husband.
Had a great call yesterday with the governor and the mayor. Okay. And they're working together to make it peaceful and without riots. I'm against the violence, so if you protest in peace.
They're not protesters. They're not protesting. Maybe a few of them are. Maybe some are. Okay, but these people...
We need to...
impeding law enforcement, whistling, and then getting shot and all that. Those are not protesters, Melania. And look, maybe this is just strategy. You got to calm it down. But if you got to calm it down and thinking it's because you can't go with plan A, which is what? Bust down the doors. Bust down the doors. You're committing fraud. You're Somalian. No, you're illegal. I'm joking. You're illegal. By the way, Somalis, look, 2020, this was something especially as Trump came back in, won 2024. This was talked of. He definitely made far more noise about it before. Voter fraud, right? I mean, that's what they were saying. Many things about 2020, things I cannot confirm, and I don't know. But look, bringing it back to there, it is interesting to me. If you remember, there were some pretty tough and repeated claims and pushes of investigation of Minnesota in 2020, okay? This is centered around election fraud, and who's at the center of that one? The Somalians, you remember? Now, Project Veritas and others, there was this thing where they were revealing this alleged ballot harvesting scheme in Somali communities, like Ilhan Omar's district and stuff, okay? They were claiming cash for vote schemes. I mean, they're just going around door to door like, hey, in some way gathering votes from people who would normally not have voted on their own. And the allegations are like, how do you get that to happen? There's maybe some kickback, maybe some greasing of the wheels. Maybe it should be investigated. A lot of people were saying that 2020. Now, let me remember. Did the 2020 ballot harvesting allegations come out before or after the Floyd riots? I forget the timeline here. That the Somali ballot harvesting stuff had to have been after, right? Because that was all election time. Yeah, after the Floyd riots. But anyways, look. That was after. So, what's up, Bill? So what can I say? Look, I want to get to my calls. I want to get to all of you. There's a number of things. Number of things to get to. 888-775-3773. What are y'all saying here? That's Barron's mom. She's trying to stay his mom, I think. I hear she's protective of her little Baron, Melania. Nick, Bovino got fired for what happened in Minneapolis. Did he get fired? They're moving around the leadership, and they're like moving Bovino, who's like what? I forget who this guy was. Bovino served as commander-at-large of the United States Border Patrol. Now, he had some, like, him and Kristi Noem had a much, like, definite role, I think, or especially in Minnesota, Minneapolis. Kristi Noem, right, heading DHS. From this, the things that happened, so he calls Tim Walz. He's saying it's a good call, and he was saying, what did he say? He said it's a good call. And I think he's going to work with them. There's talk of less agents, which is what they want, right? Waltz and these people, to maintain that order, right? It seems like the only way to remove it is like being serious about it. And what else? And then they're moving around this leadership. So I don't know. It's unclear. I just don't know what's going to happen next. It doesn't seem like strong in that sense. Like, we're law and order. We got to do this. I'm waiting to see it. Look, that's just, I might be wrong about that, but look, this is how it looks. And they're emboldened here. Like, it seems like the strategy maybe worked. Maybe there was some strategy in 2020, but it's still Waltz, it's still Frey, it's still Ilion. They're committed to being in the streets, being violent, defrauding, and if you look the other way, they'll just find it. They're looking the other way quickly. Make a new tax, make a new program, continue to defraud. I mean, I don't know what to say. So those are the things that happen. On the moving of leadership, I'm not sure they're East Coast, because he's also like defending Noam. He's saying, no, I'm not going to fire her. A whole bunch of people are saying, fire her. And he's saying, no, I support my administration. I support my agents, which you got to do, right? You can't, if you start saying, hey, well, we're going to pull back, we're sorry. He's not saying that, but if you kind of give that, if you signal that, you're saying that you're not going to back up your agents, and you're not backing up your administration, right? So you got to do that. I hope that's what he's doing. Because they're saying, right, fire her. He's not doing it. He's already made a statement about that. He's saying, no, I support my people. But what else about this? I want to get to my calls. Ryan out of Illinois. How you doing, Ryan? You're on the air.
No, I'm finna go hit that trash, though. What's going on?
What's up, Ryan?
Hey, I got a question for you. My bad. I sound a little muffled. I have my mask on. It's kind of windy out here in Illinois.
Is it a scarf or like a COVID mask?
No, like a little ski mask, like I'm about to hit a robbery or something. But
the balaclava, the poo shiesty?
The poo shiesty. The shiesty.
Let me put one on screen so people can.
No, man, I can't post because I'm at work, bro.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I can't post. And it's not a black shiesty; it's a green shiesty, like a work shiesty.
So we have some visuals while you're speaking. You said you had a question for
me. You funny. You super funny, bro.
We need to so people can have some imagination as they're hearing you speak. You know what I'm saying?
No, that's cool. You know, I'm from Illinois. It's all right. You know, y'all can judge all y'all want, but just because you judge,
I like the poo shiesties. They're fashionable, although a little scary. I might cross the street. I might cross the street. Should I see one coming my way? Straight up.
They useful in the wintertime.
I'm sure they are. I'm sure they're.
I've never robbed nobody with a shiesty on, so don't stereotype every black person that got a shiesty.
But how am I going to know? How am I going to know? How am I going to know this is a good shiesty?
All right, look, if they got a black chassis on with black Nikes, then be scared.
Okay,
But
thank you.
if they got a work
This is good info,
chassis
actually.
on, you be all right.
This is pretty good info. And black Air Forces, right? Black Air Force Ones?
Yeah, don't trust nobody with black Air Force Ones on because they going to get your ass. I ain't going to cap on that one.
Hey, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I know.
I got a question. I was listening to what's the rich guy name that want to go to Mars?
Elon Musk.
I forget his name. Huh?
Elon Musk?
Yes, man. I don't know why I don't know his name. I'm tweaking out. I'm high, but Elon Musk, right?
He's joking.
He said
He's joking, chat.
He want to go to Mars, and they was talking about, well, it's going to take 2 years, and he said no. We can get there in 6 months. Did you hear that?
Oh, I didn't know that. Is he talking about, like, when's the soonest we can go? Or is he talking about how long the round trip would be, like the actual trip to Mars?
Yeah, because they was talking about it at the Davos, and they was like, well, it's going to take you 2 years, Elon, to get to Mars. He said, no, we've advanced. We can get there in 6 months now. And he pretty much said that he don't even want to die in America. He said he want to go to Mars and die in Mars. He just don't want to die on impact. Oh my God!
Wow, that's fascinating. No, the true what's it called? Like explorer, inventor, spirit.
Yeah,
no?
Bro.
Wow.
No, yeah,
Must be the same spirit that
saying nothing bad about him.
The same spirit that probably came across and found America.
Serious that he think we can really get to Mars and live on that joint, but he don't know whether or not we'll survive the impact or not.
You don't
believe? That's what he said. Like the only thing he's worried about is dying on impact.
Right. He doesn't want to die on impact. He wants to successily land on Mars, probably work, live there, and then end up dying there. It sounds from what you're saying.
He don't want to die in America. Why do he know some shit that we don't know?
Hey, keep it clean. Why? You're on there.
My bad. Why don't he want to die here? Like, what do he know that we don't know?
Wait, where are you taking it in your mind? Where are you taking
I
this?
don't know.
Like,
I'm thinking
you're saying he has a motive?
Something gonna happen here, and he want to get out of here as fast as possible, but he's not telling us.
I think he said that about the whole Earth. I think he has said something like that about the whole Earth. He's saying we might kill it. We might humanity's crazy, and we might end up like.
No,
I think he said something to the effect.
Afraid that we're.
Let me remember real quick. I think he said something to the effect of humanity has a chance to be like a multi-planetary species, a people that span multiple planets, not just this one planet, but that we might end up killing each other before we get there. So he has his concerns of planet Earth, I think.
For sure, but do you think it's just that simple, or do you think? I think he knows something we don't know, because why he's so afraid to stay here? He's the richest person on Earth, right?
Are you getting
this
impression that he's
much build his own island?
Right. I don't know. Maybe you're getting this impression of him that he's like that he's in a hurry to go. I don't know if I get that impression of him. But hey, why can't it just be this spirit of exploring, conquering, and creating and innovating? You know, like the spirit that maybe brought people to America.
For sure. I hear what you're saying, but this is what I'm telling you. If you watch the interview he gave on Davos, it's his demeanor on how he's saying it. That's why I'm feeling like it's not just that he's a smart scientist man who wants to go explore and wants to do something different that ain't never been done. I get that. I understand all that. But what I'm saying is his demeanor is some more like dire, like he needs to do this. This has to happen, and it has to happen soon.
That's what you get from him?
He knows something we don't know. Huh?
Yeah, I didn't see his speech at Davos, and maybe you read something into him I haven't seen.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I asked if you sent it, but like, no, I'm just saying, like, man, I think something about to happen to us, and we don't even know what's going to happen. Only the rich and elite people
I think you're in your head a little bit.
You think so?
Well, yeah, because you don't know that. You can't even articulate.
I don't know that for sure.
So wouldn't
But
wouldn't
if you
tripping
look
about
at how
it
these
be
people are
strategically
scrambling
wrong in
and
all
how they're
cases here?
running the country, don't you think something's bound to happen?
But without you knowing what you're saying, wouldn't tripping about it be strategically wrong every time?
All right, but now let's go deeper. Why
But
would
we
I
haven't
have
even
this
started.
thought in my
We've
head
gone.
if God didn't put it
Attempt
to
to go deeper. Go ahead.
I said, why would I have this thought if I didn't get it from God? Maybe this came from God into my spirit. And my spirit is to let it be known.
And how do you know
know
that?
what I mean? How do I not know that? I didn't get this idea out of nowhere. I didn't create the world.
But how do you know
But
it's
I
from
got
God?
this idea. It came from somewhere.
But you're
Where
saying
did it
you're
come
sure it's from God?
How do we know?
Well, I'm
How
asking
can you say no, and how can I say yes? But what I
You
can
would want to
tell you
take that
is,
risk?
I mean, don't we do it every day?
Yeah, but you're saying you're doing it. You're speaking about it outward. You're speaking about it and admitting that you're listening to a voice that you're not sure is God.
Yeah, but this is what I'm saying. Like I know Jesse always
Are you
say that, but
are you smoking pot?
no, I ain't smoking pot, man. I'm working, man. I'm not.
Okay,
smoking
nice,
pot.
sir. No, I'm just making sure.
No, but I'm just saying
where
because
you get this
I
from,
know
man?
you are a little bit more intellectual than my boy Hake. I love Hake, but you
you think so?
You a little bit more on the other side. So I would just want your aspect. Like,
of course.
Do you think that there could possibly be an intelligence that we don't know about? And I ain't saying aliens, and I ain't talking about AI, and I ain't talking about robots that's about to take us over. Even though Elon Musk said that there's going to be more robots than human beings in the next 5 years. So I'm not saying that we should be scared about that, but should we be scared about that?
No, that's not a good. Think about it strategically, just strategically. There's no point in being scared about it. First, you don't know what you're saying is true or not. And there's
What you mean? He
in
said
being
it out of his
scared,
own
that's
mouth.
just not even right. That's just not right thinking.
But if he said it out of his own mouth, then why would I not?
But he
be
didn't say
afraid?
what you said. He didn't say at all what you said, though.
I know, but I was being funny. I'm just saying, when I listened to him speak, he said that, did you know that there's going to be more robots than human beings? So what does that
he did?
necessarily mean at the
I
end
think
of
I
the
heard
day?
him say stuff
that
like
means,
that. He's
hold on,
really
that
into.
means that.
Yeah, he's really
What?
He's really into bringing about this. Have you seen the Optimus robots and stuff like that?
Yeah, bro, but listen to what I'm saying. Like, your daughter is never going to ever have the experience that we had to, like, work at Dairy Queen or Burger King or McDonald's.
What are you doing? You're making a lot of noise.
My bad, but I'm just saying, do you understand that we're going to be losing the human experience?
I don't know. I just don't know what it'll be like.
What do you mean I don't know what it's going to be like? You already know what it's going to be
It's
like.
freaky. I'll admit. Yeah, I don't
understand
know. I don't know if it's good or bad. I don't know.
All right, listen to me. Have you been in a hood lately? Have you ever drove in a neighborhood that you probably shouldn't be in
Yes.
at like 5 o'clock?
I was playing poker in the hood. Straight
Okay.
up.
No,
But I was valid though, so it's all good.
Now listen to me. Why do you think most of those kids are in the hood like that and they're not pursuing anything further than what they currently see?
They don't want to.
Yeah, see, come on, man. That's just an excuse, and that's not even right to say because they don't want to. Everybody just don't not want to. Oh, do you
It's
know
like
that
they don't
some
want
people,
to slash
Do you
they
know
don't
that
even
some
know.
people-
In many cases,
Hey,
in some
Anchor
cases, they
Baby.
don't even know
Unlike
what's
your
possible.
mama brought you to America, do you know that there's some people in America who ain't never even been on the other side of town?
What's that have to do? What are you saying there?
They don't even go on the other side of town because they don't know nothing about it. Like,
Right.
These people that just grew up like that. Now, don't you think that it's funny that AI in the internet and the TV have a way of pushing that on certain people in certain aspects to where people just don't know no better? and you blame it on they just don't want to do nothing. How about they ain't never had an opportunity or they ain't never knew that they could? Some people don't even go on the other side of town. It's because they favorite color red, and they know on that side of town they wear blue. But they didn't know that all they had to do was put on the gray shirt, and they can go over there. You understand what I'm saying?
And when they do that,
a little bit too deep for you?
No, I totally understand. And no, you're totally no. I think I know what you're saying, and this is what happens. That person who decides to just do the thing they thought they couldn't, they end up finding out that all what was holding them back was their own thinking about it. They simply believed a lie. No, there was nothing holding them back. It was never all those things they thought. So actually, your story, your pathetical or whatever. I mean, I think is close to reality. Think about it. When that individual finally does the thing they thought they couldn't, it was always just in their head, and that includes the areas you're talking about. I mean, racism holding them back, whatever it is they think is holding them back, it's just not true. And now there you can even say, man, how can you blame them though? I mean, in many cases they didn't even know they were. It's like they had no chance, Nick. They had no chance, and I don't like saying such a thing because that takes away the responsibility of the individual. That means you dehumanize them. You make them into a less of a being, a less of a man. It's like they have that's all. That's why I say the way I say it.
No, yeah, you looking at it as all aspects. It doesn't matter right, wrong, indifferent, been treated wrong. You got a choice. That's how you look at it. That everybody got a choice.
And it's like first we got to say the truth, and then we could talk about the other things you said. But it's like, can we be real though? Can we be honest?
But what about those who don't even know they got a choice?
But you do though.
You know what I'm saying?
You do though. If you don't know, if you don't have the if you don't have the vision to see, hold on.
Know racism.
No, but hold on. There's an answer to what you're saying. Racism. There's an answer to what you just said, Ryan.
I know what I'm saying.
If you lack a sort of like mental model or vision to see yourself in a different situation because of the things you're saying, I can believe such a thing. But lacking that doesn't mean you lack the ability to know what's going on with you right now. It's like maybe you don't know that you can increase. Maybe you don't know that you can get out of your situation in this way, but you do know that you should get a job right now. You do know that you should.
But listen to what
do the basic things right now.
Because I'm a grown adult who know better, and I was taught better than that. But I'm talking about somebody who has never been taught right from wrong. Somebody who doesn't even understand.
They can start where they are. They can start where they are.
No, but I'm just saying. Imagine a baby being born, newborn, and all it was taught from newborn till now was hate and negativity. So you're telling me that it's that baby's fault that it didn't understand that what it was being taught was wrong when that's all it's ever been taught, my boy. When
it's an adult, when it grows up to be an adult.
So listen to what I just asked you. I asked you if a baby from born, when it first comes out, all it's being taught is negativity.
Yeah.
It has never been taught anything positive at all. It doesn't know what the word positive or love or happiness or anything means. All it knows is violence and being beat, being raped, and all kind of things. You mean to tell me that child would grow up to be 18 and be like, oh, everything that I've experienced and done and been taught is wrong?
No, I don't expect such a thing, but it's still their responsibility. What's going to most likely happen is they're going to go through life.
How would they know that if that's all they've seen and they ain't never had an opportunity to see nothing else?
Because there is an opportunity. There always is. I just don't believe your characterization that such a person even exists. Let me answer, Ryan. Let me answer.
You've never been around it.
Let me answer, Ryan. Let me answer. Come on. We've already spent too much time here. Allow me to answer so we don't spend far too much time here because we got to get to other callers. So allow me to answer, Ryan, because we already spent a lot of time here. But look, I believe what you're describing is literally happening in America. That there are children taught that the world hates them. I mean, they call it racism, man. They have to black. I heard about the talk. They're growing up as children in America, and their parents tell them, "Hey, by the way, you got to be careful because you're different. You got to work twice as hard and you might get killed by cops," before anything has even happened. So, yeah, I do believe in a large part what you're saying exists. But yet there's always an opportunity. What most likely will happen with that 18-year-old is they'll have like a tough life. They're not going to get to 18 and be like, you're making a lot of noise, Ryan, so I'm just going to mute it there. They're not going to have like a perfect life at 18. I'm going to wake up, I'm going to forget the sins of my parents. But they're most, what happens in practice is they end up having to go through life, okay? But hey, even those people some people go through life and end up seeing themselves and seeing that they're living wrong. And so, yes, it is on you once you're an adult. I do agree what you say happens, but it's just the reality of the situation. It happens to everyone. It happens to every single person.
It doesn't happen to every single person.
But some people justify it and say, but me, I have a unique situation. I'm a victim.
You probably never had to fend for yourself. You probably never had to feed yourself and your brothers and sisters. You probably never got raped by somebody that you once loved.
You don't know me. Maybe I got raped.
You probably
I'm
never
joking.
got prosecuted because of the color of your skin.
You
so
don't
stop
know me.
Playing games
Maybe
with me,
all
man.
that happened to me. And
you don't know
chat,
nothing.
None of that happened to me.
All you're doing is giving an opinion.
Quiet your mind.
You think that is right. You're wrong, bro.
All right, Ryan. But I appreciate your call, man. We spent plenty of time. I think we finished there. Anything else you want to speak on before we move the wheels?
I'm just saying, man. I want you to just think about that. Some people don't get to experience the good life like you did or everybody else did. So some of us
Were you born in America?
And harmed.
Were you born in America?
And look at America.
You were born in America, Ryan? Were you?
Look at it. Yeah, I was.
So you lived the same amazing life I did then?
I don't live the same life you live.
You live the exact same amazing life
that I can probably achieve some of the things that you do, but I'm not going to say that I will because I'm still a black man at the end of the day, and I'm still a male at the end of the day. So there's still things
what do you
that
have,
you will
what
never
do I have
ever
that you
have
don't?
to deal with that I don't got to deal with.
What do I have
and
that
I
you
know
don't?
it's hard for you to accept that.
What do I have that
you
you?
What
do I have that you don't have and you can't get?
Huh?
What do I have that you don't
Bro,
have and you can't
foreigners
get?
Don't even pay taxes for 7 years when y'all come over here. So stop playing games.
No. What do I have that you don't have and
about.
can't get? That's the question.
You don't got nothing that I can't have, but I'm just saying for the most.
Or let's say a white man in
America,
America, because you were bringing that up. You're saying I'm black and I'm different. What does a white man in America have? Because the anchor baby thing is confusing you. What does a white man in America have that you don't have and can't get?
He doesn't have the discrimination and the ability to be told no just because of the way that they look, or just because what other people that look like them may have done. You understand?
In what America? What are you talking about?
Judgment.
In what America? What America are you talking about?
Experience.
That's highly illegal in America. If a white person ever did that to another race, they're like, it's like a national story. What are you talking about?
Stop playing games.
No, you're playing games. In what America are you talking about? If a white person stopped someone from hiring someone just because of the color of skin, that's a national story. What are you talking about?
They may not say it to you, but they can do it in the paperwork.
But they should be allowed to. That's your right too. That's your right too, by the way. You discriminate every day. You should be allowed to do
I don't discriminate.
Yes, you do.
I don't discriminate.
Of course you do. You say yes to things and no to things.
I don't.
There are things you say yes to and things you say no to.
On nobody, but you know what I do? I do know
when you
that
see a black, when you see someone wearing a black Pooh Shiesty and black Air Force Ones, do you cross the street?
I would because I ain't
You're
scared,
a discriminator. You're discriminating,
and
that's your right, sir, American.
But I would, but I ain't scared
that's
of no
discrimination
or forces. But I know y'all are though. But
right,
this
but
is
you
the thing though.
That's an example of discrimination.
Let me tell you something. Tell me I'm lying before you let me
go
go.
ahead.
Tell me I'm lying.
About?
It could be a white man dressed in a white suit, and he could be a serial murderer and a serial rapist, raping his family, doing all kind of things. But just because he look normal, you don't think that he's doing that. Now, imagine how many people that look like that are holding their families hostage, raping their own daughters, killing people, money laundering every single day that look like y'all wearing a suit.
Hey, you're describing reality as it works.
Am I right or wrong?
No, you're absolutely right. Looks, perception, all these things carry a thing.
Why y'all
I'm not saying it's morally correct. I'm not saying it's, but it's not wrong for someone to discriminate.
Us how we look and judge us by our
because everybody knows, everybody knows that evil. Everybody knows, Ryan, when you're walking down the street and you see someone in a nice suit and all that, they're that's the least likely character to attack you, rob you, mug you, and all that. You're absolutely correct.
That's
that same
not
person,
true. That's not true.
that's everybody knows this, Ryan. But that same
That's not
person could
true.
be a terrible person doing terrible things in the back.
That's
Well, guess
that's
what
a
that?
figure.
Yeah, but allow
that's
me to
a-
respond. Allow me to respond. Guess what that person is benefiting from, to so to speak. If that evil person in a suit was truly doing evil things in the background, nobody could tell. That person would be benefiting from the general perception of white people and well-dressed people. That's just how the world
Okay,
works.
so
To be mad at that is
all right,
insane. But
let me
Ryan, we spent
respond.
plenty of time. Can you call me again?
All right, this is my last thing.
All right.
So that man, Chris, that man who threw all his kids and his wife in the oil bin that he worked at. So you mean to tell me
Oh, that,
he fit the description?
That guy who killed his wife and kids.
Yeah, he killed his whole family. Did he fit the description? No, he didn't.
But
he
that's
was
the
a
point.
well-dressed man. He had money, and he killed his entire family for absolutely nothing but vagina.
Hey, whoa.
Serious,
Keep it
bro?
clean, but listen. What do
Looks
you?
are
What is
deceiving.
it that you're having
Stop
an issue
judging
with?
people
But hold
about
on.
how they look.
But hold on. You're having
Yeah.
You're having an issue with people just acting normally.
What do
You just
mean?
told me
That's
you
not
would do the
normal what
same
he
with someone
did.
wearing
You
a
think
push
that's normal what he did?
But you're telling me that you have perceptions as well. If you saw someone in a push icy and black Air Forces, you'd be like, "Hey, you know what? I'm going to
No,
watch
I
this
was
person."
just being funny with you. Just to
I know
keep
we're
it,
just being
you
funny,
know.
but you're kind of being serious too, though. You do agree that if it's not necessarily exactly wearing a push icy, there's a particular type of black that you would avoid. Let's be real. That's what we're talking about here, right? So the same way you
it
have
depends on
the
where
same
I'm at,
way the
though.
same way looks matter to
But
you.
it depends on where I'm at,
well,
though,
no,
right?
but the same way looks matter to you, it matters in this case going the other way. So yeah.
So how
evil
how
people
do
get
y'all
away
know
with it
that
because
it's gonna be a man who's gonna
well-dressed
kill his
people
entire family?
and white
How
people
do you
are
guys
average
identify
decent.
those
But
kind of
anyways.
people in y'all neighborhood? In y'all, like how do you identify people like that?
It's
They don't
it's
wear
called
shiesties.
it's just a pattern. It's just pattern. It's just like patterns. I'm not saying it's morally
Because you
correct.
know most psycho killers.
I'm not
look
saying
like
that
you,
they're
right?
good people. I'm not saying you're morally correct for judging by looks, but can you blame them? That's just how a regular person should operate in the world. I'm not saying they're
All
a
right,
moral
so,
person, but look,
so why don't you look at it
but
like
that's
this?
not the point.
Why don't you look at it like everybody is bad, but it's not a certain look. It's a person that does bad, not a
It's
look
called a
that does
pattern.
bad.
Ryan, I appreciate your call.
Yeah, man, because, see, you don't like that argument
Call me
because
again.
you know I'm right.
I'm running. Hey, call me again, Ryan.
Yeah.
888-775-3773. More calls here in a sec. Thank you. I'm going to get right to you. I'm going to get right to you here. Don't repeat him. Don't. Emperor Lib. What do you need a communist modern era sex ed class? This is the wrong place. Emperor Lib. That's not here. You missed that class in school because your parents didn't want to do it. I don't know. They gave up on the children. They're like, all right, government, you tell them about men because love. So that's just, you're asking the wrong chat there, Emperor Lib. Any Canadians in the chat? Y'all remember Fully Alive? Or did they change that? I'm pretty sure that was a national curriculum. Fully Alive. Any Canadians in the chat? Yeah. Government, communist government, sex ed. But Nick, how will they? But Nick, if you don't tell them, they'll. I don't know. I don't know what the fear was. I grew up in this world already. They already had the sex ed, so. But some of you are looking for it in the chat, and it's just, this is not what this is, okay? This is not this show. Okay? You might want to ask your parents. You might want to sit down with your parents. I don't know how old you are. Mom, dad, maybe just your dad. Maybe your mom if you're a girl. I don't know. Dad, I'm 37. Anyways. All right, let's get to, let me see here. Thank you for the super chats and all that. We'll get to all of you. Thank you. Appreciate the support. Incredible. Why is it always serial killer like blacks don't shoot each other all day? Ivana, I mean, you're on it, but the characterization is like this distinct in that, like, or I mean, that's what they say. The distinction matters are far less to me. I'm like you, Ivana. The distinction matters are far less to me. You're violent and killing them out there, and far worse than the white serial killer. But the distinction is like, oh, like brooding, and I'm gonna like harm people in my school or like class. I don't know, just stuff like that, right? And I guess the serial killer thing, I don't even believe that one personally. Like, I think there's a lot of black serial killers, but I forget. I want to get to my calls. 888-775-3773. What else here? Melania. Let me see. Oh my gosh, there's all these scams going on. It's all over the country. So we'll get to all that, but I want to get to Chris out of Texas. I appreciate your call, Chris. You're on the air.
Hey, what's going on, Nick?
What's up, Chris?
Interesting call. Shout out to the caller.
Yep.
Hey, I was wondering about what's your opinion on everything going down in Minneapolis right now?
Well, it's this guy got himself killed. Renee Good got herself killed in defense of that which seeks to totally end law and order in the country as we know it. And all the people out there protesting and all that, they're not a community and neighborly people who love anybody. They're angry, evil, just like a gnashing crowd. There's nothing American about it, and it needs to end. It needs to stop. And it seems to be like the like most vocal head of the Hydra right now because of all this fraud that's being uncovered and all that. And as that's happening, you get all these screams, same actors, Tim Waltz and all that. So it's gotta end. I don't know if there's a middle ground with all this, and I'm waiting on Trump to deal with it.
Yeah, well said for sure.
What do you think about it?
Well, I mean, I largely agree with you, of course. There's just, it's kind of insane for people to think that you don't expect, whether it's a police officer or a federal agent who's sworn to do a duty to not do their job, And for the people that are illegally, violating the laws to expect to be treated as a victim of injustice. It's just wild how that can be portrayed largely in the mainstream media,
Big time. And it's just like looters, man. It's crazy. It's like full-on looters of the country.
That's exactly what it is. It's like on the basic level, like people are demonized for colonialization, but look at it in the reverse aspect. Like you literally, Minneapolis specifically, being largely, I mean, you could almost call it a colonization of this time.
Absolutely.
By people from Somalia, which is literally it couldn't be any different from the climate that they're used to, that they're willing to move to. There must be some incentive there, right?
Well, think about it like this. They were refugees. They were
Right.
their country. Now, if I forget the details, but basically, America is crazy. Like they make full on laws that are like, okay, they made some law or bill. I forget what it was that said these Somalians, their country is a mess, and we're gonna save them. So we're gonna put them in Minnesota. That's literally how it went down. And it's basically charity. You understand? That's why they're here. So when you
Yeah.
say, well, this is just so different from their climate, I mean, that's why they're here. They're like rescues. They're refugees from like a war-torn country, where they're pirates over there. They're pirates. It's an absolute mess.
And very
It's an
tribal.
absolute mess of a country. And I believe you
Yeah,
had maybe even
my
some
dad spent some
soft
time
power
in Somalia
effects
when
over
I
there.
was a kid, and he told me nobody dies of old age in Somalia. And that should tell you everything.
Yeah.
But you having, being Canadians in some regard, I wonder if it's somewhat strategic because Canadians are largely renowned for being such a nice and respectful culture and people and so welcoming. There's also a term here in America called Minnesota nice. You wonder if they were specifically chosen because they might be easily to be taken advantage of in a situation like this.
Oh, I see why the Somalians were put there. You're saying.
It's kind of what I'm thinking, yeah.
It's just like because here's the thing, they're putting them everywhere across the country, but they're picking the places where there are jobs. It's crazy. They're picking the places where there are jobs, where it's nice. That they're like, where do we put these people? Let's play them in the best places. And it's like the best places are I guess some of these places. I mean, I hear maybe not Minneapolis, but I hear there's some good infrastructure and just good things in Minnesota, I think. But yeah, I mean, look.
Well, look at the natural resources too. I mean, look at where. I mean, I think Christians are largely ignorant to like the Crusades being like a thing of history and of the past, but the Islamic nations have never ended the fighting of the Crusades as far as like their religion is concerned. I think at least like to where the quote unquote Christians of America and Western society, we think that's just like an ancient thing of the past. And what is Minnesota? It's the land of 1,000 lakes, So that's water. There's timber. There's so many different things that the Middle East, just to put a narrow perspective on where they might be largely at this point in time in the world. But I mean, they're thinking long term. We've largely just given up on our religion being serious out of anything outside of like maybe a slight cultural standard when they take their religion very seriously.
Totally.
And they're playing the long game, and we're just caught up in these PC politics that are basically welcoming the takeover.
Right. Doing endless like, I don't know, like endless supposedly good-hearted debate with people who don't care about that. They like want the end of America. We're just stuck in an endless debate with them. I mean,
and it's crazy how many of those people are like born and raised here,
Yeah, I guess that's the heart of it too, huh? There's just a bunch of
They've
people that want it
from
this
all
way.
the glory of all the sacrifice and still buy into the narrative that like we have to assume some sort of guilt for, I mean, largely sacrificing and fighting all over the world for the good of, other countries to continue to be their own sovereign nations. What other country has fought as many wars as we have and like not brutally taken them over and considered them our territory now? You know?
So true, man. Yeah, it's true.
What
It's
else
just
is
a
on your
scam.
mind going on in the world today?
Well, a number of things. You know, the Saudis are buying EA. I don't know if you heard about that. Electronic
No.
Arts, the
Oh,
American video
really?
game company, and they're just like
It's in the
outright.
game.
Well, yeah, that one. Yeah, it's in the game. EA, it's in the game. You know,
You
it's
remember
like
that?
yeah, big time. Now they've had some like I don't really even game anymore, but it is like a
No, same.
big. I'm gathering it's like it's actually a big company. It's huge, and there's some officials on our side in the government saying we can't allow this, and I might talk about that. I don't know. There's a number of things I might get into, but the Saudis are like just cash on the table. They're really rich. It's crazy. And they're like, I'm like, why do they want EA Electronic Arts? Like, what do they want this video game company for? With like IPs like Madden and like FIFA and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, they are diversifying like all of their. They know oil is like limited on their capitalization, and they are just probably some of the most smartest people on diversifying. Like,
oh, is that? Yeah, I heard about that.
How they can just dominate like the economic spectrum for like years to come for sure. Yeah. Looking what the Saudis do is like a smart thing to do for anybody considering like long-term investing or just like where world politics are going to go. I mean, honestly, the way things are going in Europe, I mean, politically and a lot of like, I could foresee a future where Saudi Arabia and whoever their allies might be having to like have a war with Europe because, you know, a lot of the Islam that's practiced in the West or allowed to be practiced in the West is very extreme to conservative Islam cultures like Saudi Arabia. And I mean, Saudi Arabia was a huge ally against like ISIS and sort of movements like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm not educated enough to. I know there's like the Sunnis and you know like the differences between Iraq and Iran as far as their Islam practices go, but I can't think of the name of like what is like the hardcore like ISIS model of it or Afghanistan, but
I forget.
They're definitely not with that, you know what I mean? And they're fighting against it.
The Saudis.
Yeah. And that's definitely a lot of the people that are, you know, under the white flag of immigration and migration, moving into Europe and settling into certain zones that become no-go zones for the native populations and for, you know, the sovereign governments to be able to operate effectively. It's ironically very similar to where the Vikings came into England so many centuries ago, you know, and they were eventually able to blend and become into the modern United Kingdom that we all know. But it's just too polarized now, you know. There's if it wasn't for the people ruling the political atmosphere of Europe to sort of push it under the rug, you know.
Yeah.
There's a lot of places in Europe where the average citizen is just forced to deal with a lot of nonsense, so to speak, that they would have never had to deal with,
like,
you know?
What?
I mean, yeah, Muhammad has been the number one name for a newborn baby for like almost a decade. I mean, if that doesn't tell you anything. And I mean, it is what it is, but the writing's on the wall is all I'm saying.
Exactly. You know, what was it earlier on the JLP show? It was a good thing too. I think who was it? It was Jesse was saying like, "Hey, I'd like to hear we played a clip of Bibi Netanyahu. He was like, anti-Semitism is the world's problem. He's like, the anti-Semitism is the world's problem. I'm like, oh, he's gonna make it the world's problem. And it's like, well, you know what? I could think of the world's problem. You know what? Actually, the world hates white people, and that's detrimental to everybody right now. They're hurt. Everyone's kind of hurting themselves over it, especially the people living in the West, the Western countries. Everything's getting worse for everybody, and they want to blame white people and all that. That's the only real blaming that's allowed. That's the only real racism that's allowed. Man.
If white people
and so
were allowed
imagine
to
if
have
someone
the voice,
imagine if someone just like, hey, you know what? No, actually, is not no to the anti-Semitism. You could that can stay. You could be like, you know what's a problem in the world? Hey, you know what's a real problem in the world? This anti-white stuff. It's got to stop. So
no, it is because I saw. I think it was a video y'all posted earlier today where it was like you can't fight racism with racism.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean that point couldn't be any more clear. I mean if white people were able to be unified in an opinion that was respected and acknowledged the way like any other group
Anybody
of people
else
were, I mean,
then maybe there wouldn't be like literal pirates in a state that you can't do anything about because the governor will be like, hey, protesters, get out there, and then a bunch of losers and white people too that like into this, right, defending it all. And maybe that wouldn't be that way if there was a stronger, because you were saying earlier, right, like the Arab world, they're strongly call themselves Arab, and they're like their borders are clear, and they're increasing. It's like, where's the border?
Yeah,
of the
Saudi
white
Arabia is
or
taking
the
literally
Americans.
0 Palestinian refugees.
Yeah.
I mean that should tell you everything. Like, if the largest Muslim kingdom doesn't want one of them, then how are you trying to sell that on the world as a good thing? And then also to your point, as far as I mean, let's just look at the Western world. Slavery has been ended in the Western world for 150 years plus now. And if you add up all the casualties in every war that America has ever been in, they do not reach the number of the American Civil War. So more people died in the Civil War than any other war combined that America's ever been in. Yeah.
I never heard such a thing. That's crazy.
Yeah, look it up. It's amazing. But there's still slavery in Africa. There's still slavery in the Middle East. And yet white people are the bad people for slavery, and I don't understand that.
Sir, we spent plenty of time. Chris, can you call me again?
Of course, sir. I wish you well, and I always appreciate you and your show. Thank you very much for your time.
Back at you. Thank you. 888-775-3773. Insane. It's a scam. It's crazy. It's just like in your face looting. I don't ever get like emotional about it, but I mean, you see the public sometimes. You're like, the decent people they don't like this. Can't. This is criminality. This is looting. This is so wrong. Thank you, Wonka and Roscoe. Appreciate the back-to-back super chats. Says, have a great show, Nick. Shout out to Kurt and my fellow Bible man, Derek. Says, if I'm a villain, I'm pushing for those that live in the hottest places in Africa to move to the coldest places in North America. Who would catch on to that? Like the Somalians. I think winter has been, I think they're, look, that's a value judgment that I think they're fine with. Walk and Roscoe. They're not self-deporting. They're not chained over here. You know, they don't have to stay. Okay. And it looks like they're going to do everything they can to stay. So they're putting on the beanie. They're putting on the toque. Okay? They're going to put on the toque. And they're going to just try and be warm. Look, I always thought that this whole burqa business, and I've never really seen a Somalian in a burqa. I've seen them in the hijabs. You know, like, what do you call it? Because the hijab is just up to here, right? The hijab leaves the face open. It covers the head and hair and all that, but it stops here. And then the rest of your garb is something else. These Somalian women, I don't know what it is. It's like, I don't know, maybe it's like more African style. I don't know what it is, but it's like their hijab. It's like the same kind of hijab style, right? The face is seen, hair, right? Hair, head, it's all covered, but it's part of like their whole dress. You know, it's like, it's part of like, it's like a one piece. It's a one piece. Like, what is that? Somebody help me. We're trying to get culturally enriched. Okay. Maybe that's just a hijab. I'm ignorant. Look, I've always thought that's like a little hot over there. No, maybe they're happier. Maybe the Somalian women are happier over here. They're like, you know, I'm feeling kind of fresh in my hijab. You know, it's like, I was pretty hot back in Somalia having to wear this thing. Dashiki? You might be right. The dashiki. Where have I heard that word? No, it's not a dashiki. This is a dashiki, apparently. Where's your dashiki? No, not one of these. Oh, look. White man in a dashiki? Or no, Asian man in a dashiki? This is an awesome stock photo. Is this a stock photo? This is an awesome stock photo. Oh, Lord. There goes my intro again in the middle of the show. Tighten it up, Anchor baby. Listen. This is an awesome stock photo, okay? Laughing deeply. Laughing deeply and candidly. Hashtag, you know, as tags as you're looking through the stock photos, you know, you're trying to do your corporate letter or something. You're like, genuine laughter in genuine laughter in dashiki. Anyways, moving on. The Nancy Pelosi fit. That's exactly, yeah, that same pattern. What is that? We need here's what we need. Here's what we need to bring the show full circle. Here. Oh, man, it doesn't exist. Should I give you another $1 million idea? I always give you guys my $1 million ideas. I don't know if anyone's made a Pushisti dashiki. Or am I just searching this wrong? Is it dashiki pushisti? You know, it's a pushisti with dashiki qualities, not a dashiki with pushisti qualities. Right? It's the other way around. I don't think it exists. Dashiki, it does not exist. Okay, so if you want to get on that, dashiki balaclava. Okay, maybe something like that exists. Okay. But there you go. This is a $1 million idea for you. All right, folks. Where were we? What are y'all saying here? They shouldn't shoot unless they're 100% positive. But that's not how that works. What if it was your life? Maybe you're shooting at 90%, maybe 80%. You're like, yeah, I'm 80% sure this is a threat, a deadly threat to me and my fellow officers. You know what I'm saying? Like, who determines that? Who determines that? That's your life. I want to get back to my calls. 888-775-3773. Where were we here? I got some Democrat. Oh, man. Democrat scams. It's just... For the decent folks, this is just too far. What they're doing here, because it's so much more than Minneapolis. This one just came out. The Care Court program, a program in California. California's Gavin Newsom, 2022. We'll do this quick. I'll get to calls, but it's just more taxes, more programs, the stuff that has been like talked about for decades. It just seems to now be getting investigated or something. Did Nick Shirley rip the Band-Aid? But they were going to compassionately help severely mentally ill individuals into court-ordered treatment. It was some big program to deal with homelessness. Another program, right? Supposedly, they got money to deal with like up to 12,000 people, with suggestions to go up to 50,000. Okay, years later, $236 million later, 3,000. Basically, it's failed to deliver. 22 people. This is like the big kicker here. That only 22 people have been court-ordered into treatment. The whole point of the thing, to compassionately put homeless people on the street into mental health care. Hundreds of millions of taxpayer money. We're going to get 50,000 people off the streets. Years later, it's on Daily Mail, Fox. Like, this is not like just average. This is just regular news. 22 people have been in court-ordered treatment. 22. It's a scam, man. It's all a scam. Hey, caller, what's your name and where are you calling from?
Oh, hey, this is Justin. I'm calling from SoCal.
What's up, Justin? Go ahead.
What's up? Long time no see. Yeah, I'm pretty disheartened by what I'm seeing in the media. I'm not sure what you're seeing on your algorithms, but I kind of concluded, instead of getting kind of sucked into like emotions, looking at it logically, that there's a lot of things I don't know, and there's a lot of things that I can only see certain points of view if there's like someone getting killed. But I think that ICE doing their job, like you wake up in the morning, they're doing their duty, whatever, to enforce federal law. I think that's fine, and being masked is also fine. But what I don't think is good is the apparent lack of training and leadership to prevent people from being killed that are citizens or not citizens, whatever. And I think that there should be some type of control on what we're looking at, or maybe, not blow by blow videos of someone being shot and trying to analyze, did they do wrong? What it appears to me is that they're trying to divide our country, and they're trying to get us to be in a civil war amongst ourselves. And what are they out there doing? They're trying to enforce the law. Yeah. Okay. Well, what is the other people trying to do? They're trying to protect, like safe harbor illegal immigrants because it's a safe city. So now the police are having to defend their own. The Minnesota Police Department has to defend their own city. While ICE, I heard last night, are in Spring Hill hotel having beers and told to stand down. So they're just watching from a window, all the police down there having to deal with it. But that's what I think.
Who was told to stand down? Explain that situation to me, because I have that. Oh. I saw that too, but how did you see it?
From what I was seeing, it appeared to me that the ICE agents were observing off-duty from a window below the protesters, and then who had to control the crowd control was the police. So in my summation, it's like, okay, they're having beers, they're relaxing. and the police are protecting them from being hurt, and they're enforcing their own, laws in the city to keep peace. And I think that's really what it should be in the beginning. The police should be out there to protect the federal agents. But because they've been weaponized to not protect, the federal agents there, they're like, no, you're not supposed to be here. We don't want you here. It's like Tim Waltz, you're creating your own citizenry piling up in the cemeteries. You're creating more memories in people's reticular mind to go about justifying furthering more actions where, sure, you can have 2A, you can have your Constitution and your right to bear arms, but you're all going to kill each other. I think it's stupid. I think that Preddy was unwise, was not a victim, and he should not have been killed. And I think that good. When she was ran over, the officer shouldn't have been ran over, but shouldn't have been in front of the vehicle to then have to say, oh, I got to defend myself. So there's a lack of training. It's sloppy. It's unapologetic in what it's doing. And so, yeah, they should have a Tom Homan, probably better than Noam, to go out and keep the rule of law in a civil way. Like, get experts out there to how to deal with it. Otherwise, it's just going to be causing more bloodshed and more catastrophes, which will create a real revolution, but not a revolution of any substance, by the way, because they're just trying to protect illegal people residing in their communities so that they get a safe harbor. That's all they're doing. But it's going to be turning into, fighting against the government. And I think that's what, I don't know, it's China or whatever, whoever wants to have us fight Soros or whatever, but it's a well-funded group of people that are out there protesting. But if they're protesting, why are they directing traffic? Why are they trying to protect girls from being maced and being pushed by ICE? Are they hired to do that? No, then stay away from there. It's like saying to a girl, she shouldn't have been raped, and you're blaming the victim. No, she shouldn't have been raped. That's true, but she shouldn't have been out there, let's say, walking the streets at midnight in, let's just say, South Central LA, and she has no bodyguards. She's just walking around. Or like the German girl. She was out there in some Middle Eastern country, some YouTuber, and she's out there saying, oh, I can walk around here, and then these Islamist guys start throwing like eggs at her and rocks. Why would you put yourself in a position where ICE is going to shoot you? You're not a victim. You're out there pretending to be some nurse with a gun that's going to protect somebody, but they didn't hire Preddy to go out there and be the nurse and be the triage out there when people get shot. He's the one that got shot because he wasn't hired to do it. So I think that when the video comes out of this angle and that angle, it's all just to divide people, to create division and then to conquer us. It's much easier once America's unstable for foreign countries to come in and to pilfer our society. So we need to increase our love. We need to increase the language of patience and tolerance. We need to listen to the other point of view. We need to not be so quick to defend some random ICE agent and say, oh, I got to protect him. Why do you have to protect an ICE agent? And why do you have to protect an illegal immigrant? Everyone needs to get off their high horse and their pride, and they need to be humble. And they need to, from my opinion, follow the rules. Put yourself in a position where you're not going to get shot, number one, and then maybe your voice will be heard. But don't act like you're out there to do crowd control and provide triage treatments and have a gun on your hip in case you get attacked. Yeah, you're going to get attacked because you have a gun and in a very hostile situation. So I don't want to take sides is what I'm saying. I want to observe the best I can so I'm not slanted one way or another,
Alex Preddy showed up to a law enforcement situation, a totally legal, like a law enforcement situation with a gun, began to fight law enforcement. And this is after a week previous, reports coming out now that he's had previous encounters with law enforcement, actually actually earned a broken rib from this previous encounter. That's how much of a nice nurse he was fighting with these people. Right. So hold on. Right. So that's what Alex Preddy was doing, right? He was there to impede law enforcement doing a job that the country voted for with a gun, right? And he was there backed up by a crowd of people thinking the same thing, right? So, and these people are totally opposed to this rule of law. They're there's no middle, there's no mystery here. They're just they want illegals here. They want criminals here, and they're saying the law has no right here to do what they're supposed to do. So that's what they're there for, right? So that's the setting. Help me understand. In what do you believe that even the most perfect law enforcement trained people are going to have zero problems with such a crowd? Or what do you think?
Good. I like that. That's a great question. I think, to answer the question, yes. It's a very...
yes, what?
It's a very bad situation for the ICE officers to be in, knowing full well who they're dealing with. So they're on a high alert, high tension. And because of that type of intensity, where everywhere around you got whistles, you got things thrown at you, you got, I don't know, banging, clanking, banging things, all these sound, all these sorts of disruption. They need a sound, mentally stable, well-trained and experienced like that. I don't know if these ICE agents have ever been in like the summer of love.
The question was, though, even with the most well-trained officers, do you think they'll have zero problems with such a crowd?
No, I said it's a great question because they should know they're going to have problems in a crowd like that. That's what I just said, that they should be aware of that.
So you're saying then even the most well-trained force will confront issues with a crowd like that might end up not how people want.
If you're going to be in,
so then why are you taking side against them in this?
Let me finish.
You're saying I don't want to take sides.
Don't take sides. Yeah, if you're in a crowd
that's
of
what you're doing against. That's what you're doing against. You're scrutinizing all the actions of ICE
in a crowd of
to
insurgents,
justify the actions of an Alex Preddy.
You shouldn't have ICE there without protection from military. You should have the state police. You should have planning so that you can ensure their safety to do
Alex
their
Preddy
job.
shouldn't have been there.
He can't. Yeah, but he made his choice, and you can't. A cop,
and now he's dead, and he should be because he went up against the law.
No, that's what I'm trying to say. No one should die.
But
no
why?
One
why not? Why not though? If you
because
go up
citizens,
against
right?
the rule of law with the intent to totally
that wasn't their mission.
Subvert it, yes, it was. They're following
their mission wasn't to kill
They're following ICE. Yes, it was.
They're
following ICE to disrupt them.
Let me ask you a question.
They're blowing their whistles to stop them from deporting people. That's what they're there to do.
That's what they're there to do. So if not deport someone,
so that is
impeding
the people
law enforcement. Insurgents there, and you're to training. Great for you to be ambitious, but have seasoned people who've been in those situations before, and if someone's going to pull a gun on you or a vehicle run you over, you should protect yourself.
And so tell me, oh, it's a good one then. How about you explain that one for us then? So what's the proper way to protect yourself against a vehicle coming at you? What would an actually well-trained person do there?
I'll tell you right now.
Tell us that one. What would because they weren't well-trained. These idiots out there, he stood in front of a car. Well, what would a well-trained person have done there? Go ahead.
He did stand in front of a car. That's the fact. But the only reaction he'd have is to fire.
This is why we're not fixing the country, by the way, folks. By the way,
huh?
Go ahead.
What was that?
This is why we're not fixing the country. The moment the moment law starts doing like the right thing, halfway doing the right thing, people are like, "Hey, we got unity. We need the language."
No.
What were we saying? Something stupid like we need the language of unity or something. I'm like, what are you saying?
Who said the language of unity?
That's what you were saying. We need more of the language of tolerance or something. I'm like, what are you saying? You're not serious.
No, I said there's no victims. So, like, you can't be looking at this guy, oh, he's being threatened, so he has to shoot him, and now he's a victim. That's what they're doing. There's people saying, oh, Preddy's the victim, and Good's the victim. No, there's insurgents out there. They're trying to, beyond disrupt, they're trying to threaten the lives of those ICE officers. So what's the plan? Just to walk into it in like a Wild West kind of way and just, that's not going to work. It's not. It hasn't worked so far. You're just going to get more and more people killed.
Where are you even getting that from? Like, it's just even, what's a Wild West? Law enforcement coming in? Yeah, it's going to look tough, man. It's going to feel like law. It's going to feel like Wild West. That's what a crowd of people in uniforms coming at you in a certain direction with some strategy. That's good. It looks militaristic. That's what it needs to be, man. it needs to be more. Like if you came at me saying, hey, you know what, Nick, I don't like how ICE handled all this, and let me tell you why Trump needs to do this deportation and all this even better. And if you were coming at me with this criticism, I'm like, well, you know, let me tell you why they can do this better. Then I would understand. But it sounds like you were never really serious or really into the whole idea of
Train
deporting
better.
illegals.
I said they should have more leadership, better leadership. Those two things I said is how they should do better, but they only have what they have. They only have the tools and the resources that they currently have, and it's. I feel bad for the ICE for having to not have the protection of the city police because they have to protect themselves. So have the military be there. Whose fault?
Yeah.
There's no fault.
There's no fault?
No, it's a fact. These people.
Yeah, Minneapolis police departments not failing to respond. You know, this Border Patrol, Greg Bovino, he's alleging that Minneapolis police departments are not responding to calls for help from ICE.
Okay. So if they're not responding for help from ICE, yeah, that's bad.
So then again, let's just endlessly scrutinize ICE. Let's just endlessly scrutinize them because nobody should die. No, people who confront the law and do things like and violently confront armed people, armed law enforcement, you know, like I'm not explaining that well, but what I'm trying to say there is there are absolutely situations where you're supposed to die, where Americans, so-called Americans, you know, this guy's not acting very American, but where they're supposed to die. That's not me wishing it. That's not me wanting violence, but it's either they die or the law dies. You know what I'm saying, man? So like, what's more important to you?
Yeah, the Bible says, be innocent like a dove and shrewd like a snake. So if you're looking from a Christian point of view, I mean, you know, people sow what they reap. They don't deserve what they get in a cold way, but they get what is coming to them. Yeah. And
you feel bad for Alex Preddy dying?
Dude, I feel bad if anyone is being killed like that. These are American citizens, right?
That's
in their mind. I don't know their mind, okay, but in their mind.
That's the funniest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Do you think that they were doing something from their conscience that's like, okay, I'm going to do something that I know I'm going to die for, but it's noble and it's righteous. I'm out here. I don't know. Whatever their thinking is, but they're putting themselves in harm's way. That's stupid to be doing that. And the harm, being in the way of harm is ICE, but they're putting themselves in that situation. And then ICE, they're not doing anything wrong by being there. That's what they're hired by the will of the American people to be there. So there's going to be an issue now where you got some vigilantes or revolutionary type people thinking this is perfect time just to use one bad thing. Every dead American from an ICE agent will create more and more of this same thing. So there's a division within our country.
ICE isn't out there just killing people. But anyways, what? I appreciate it. ICE isn't out there on the streets just killing people. That's not the story. ICE isn't just walking around like, hey, who wants to die? Alex Preddy killed himself. Renee Good killed herself.
To me, these look very suicidal. Yeah, these people look like they had nothing to live for except this notion that they're doing some revolutionary act and some noble thing. I don't think it's noble. I don't think it's a revolutionary, righteous act. But, you know, a righteous killing, I don't think it's even considered a righteous killing.
You mean the Alex Preddy one?
Yeah, exactly. That one gets me more. I could see good being more like, okay,
from what we've seen, it might be an accident. But like an accident, how though? Is it like, oh, it's just like, oh, I'm just an ICE agent. I'm just an untrained, dumb ICE agent. Boom, oops. No, a well-trained cop would have done that. Maybe we don't really know the details, but it's like, from what it looks like, it's like he's on the ground, and they're saying gun, and he saw a threat. You understand, like. But anyways, we're rehashing the same thing. Justin, can you call me again?
I was going to say, okay, I'll call again, but legally carrying a firearm is not the same as brandishing a firearm. So we got to be very careful.
He's not a protester. He went to law enforcement with a gun.
We got to be very careful.
He went to law enforcement with a gun, and guns are dangerous things. Now you got a bunch of people.
I support the American first and the Fourth American rights. There's nothing wrong with legally and peacefully protesting.
It's not a protest, Justin. It's not a protest.
Okay, what is
You're
it?
taking sides. You've already taken sides. You're like, I don't take sides. I don't take sides. You took sides with the protesters.
I just
You
told
took
you
sides
two
with
points of
America
view.
haters, man.
There's two sides you can look at. You don't have to take sides. You can look at the sides.
But that's what
You
you're
can
doing. You're
observe
taking
them.
sides.
It's called
But it's
compassion.
okay. I'm not taking it personally.
It's
Hey,
okay.
Justin, I got to go.
Yeah.
Call me again.
Have compassion, Nick. Have compassion.
There you go.
Death
Taking
is-
sides.
is-
Only
is not,
there's the proof.
Death
He
is not
said
a
the
good
compassion
thing to
word. Take care, Justin.
glorify.
Call me again. He said the compassion word, so he's taking sides. Bro, there's the Somalis is there's the scams will continue. The scams are continuing. The scam will continue, folks. You know, Sean Hannity, where was it? I'm not even going to go through it all. Where was it? Latest conservative blasts key Trump policy as he becomes latest conservative to turn on immigration raids. Yeah, all this politics and voting stuff is a show. It's just like, let's protest. We're going for Trump and we're voting. We're changing the country and we're on the internet and we're making the posts and we're calling the shows and we're getting real activated. Oh, stop. No, don't change anything. No. Oh, that looks pretty mean. No, keep everything the way it was. Stop it, Trump. Keep everything the way it was. This is actually pretty scary. We got to go, folks. Oh, not yet. We got some time here. We got a little bit here. I want to finish up with my calls. Thank you so much. Super chatters and all that. Walking Roscoe, man, one more from you. Thank you. Says, no one can be trained for every scenario. The cliche line of not trained enough is Monday morning quarterbacking. Lukewarm opinions means nada. Look, there's maybe a place for it in that there's been like this quick expansion of ICE. And I think we've seen it a little bit in the scenes that we've seen with ICE out there. Maybe it seems like maybe these are rougher guys. You saw that Justin was talking about those ICE agents at that hotel who were filmed standing and taunting these protesters who were like outside of the hotel just screaming. And they're like drinking beer and mooning them, like showing them their butt. Like, look at my butt, loser. But... And it's like, okay, you get this, and that other stuff I've seen, like, you get this impression it's like rougher guys, possibly. Maybe it's a fair thing to say, but that's such a small thing. If this was like this accident, and maybe that ICE agent needs to get investigated or something like, or whatever. Then that's that. And that's like a couched, much smaller argument that I don't even have to care about. Alex didn't have to be out there. He killed himself. Renee killed herself. And they did it in defense of criminality and a hatred of this country. Mark, Los Angeles. How you doing, sir?
Yes, sir.
Last few minutes of the show.
Yeah, Nick, I would have called earlier, but I had stuff to do. I wanted to follow up on that person that called after me, not Robert, but the guy after him yesterday, talking about Islamists and America's relationship with Israel. And I remember I said that Israel was the reason we're having problems with the Muslims.
Yeah. You were saying, okay, yeah.
Called you, and he brought up the Crusades and the pirates. Well, the only thing is, he was right. Everything. What was his name? Do you remember his name? Anthony, yeah. He was right about everything he said, but I'm talking about in more current times, in the 21st century, since Israel was created as a state, that poked the bear. The Islam, basically went to war with us again. Not that they were at war with us before. All I was trying to say is, before Israel was founded as a state, we weren't having Muslim problems in this country. And he did bring up, the caller did bring up some valid points, but I guess the only follow-up I can give is that I was talking about more modern times than, whenever the pirates were here or 500 years ago with the Crusades.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, your thinking was far more contemporary, like modern Iran and post 19 whatever 40 Israel and all that happened post World War II, that kind of world. So
Right.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. And, it's funny when you think about it. The Palestinians have nowhere to go because their own Arab brothers don't want them. And the Jews had nowhere to go. And they created the land that once, was held by the Palestinians. And, these are both peoples that have no place to really call home unless you believe that, you want to say that the Jews have the right to live in Israel, whatever. But they weren't there before 48. I'm not a religious historian, but the only purpose of the call yesterday was to say that we wouldn't have these Islamist problems if we weren't supporting Israel.
I heard these, the regime, I forget who it is, like the Shiites or which ones in Iran, for example, that they're like, they're like anti-Western and all that stuff only has to do because of Israel, you're saying?
In large part. Well, over in Iran, after they had the 1979 revolution, which was a combination of Islamists and communists, they took power and they've held it ever since for 40 some odd years. But I think I don't hate Iran. I hate the regime there. And from what I've heard, I know they're anti-Israel. I understand that. But Trump is sending over ships. And the mullahs are already in hiding, so we may get rid of those rats and give it
You said
back.
we may get rid. You said we may what?
We may get rid of the mullahs and the Islamists and replace them with a pro-Western president. I'm thinking of that. I can't think of it. Pazavi or whatever.
You support this?
Pardon?
This is something you support?
Well, no, I'm just saying this guy who is the son of the original Shah. Well, not the original, but the second Shah's son would be the man to take over if we get rid of the mullahs. Just like in Cuba, if we get rid of the commies, Marco Rubio would be good for that spot.
You say send
Cuban.
Marco Rubio over there?
I've heard rumors that if we pardon,
have his own little Cuban fiefdom.
Well, yeah, he'd bring back, a conservative government, a capitalist government. Batista was the one they overthrew. He was a little brutal, but he was still better than Castro.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that would be a good thing. And this guy whose name I can't pronounce, if we can get him back in Iran, Trump will have done the world a big favor. Iran and Cuba are not our allies.
Oh.
Israel aside.
So
I know
regime change in Iran would be just a good thing for the world.
Well, yeah, these mullahs are no good. They're fanatics. Obama's the one who supported them. He sent all those pallets of cash. Remember, I don't know how many millions.
That's right.
Billions.
I do
whatever.
know a little bit about that.
Yeah, that's that. Of course, everything Obama did was to destroy white Western civilization. Look at the people that supported him. Look at the people that he supports. Everything he did was detrimental. And in regards to him being the mass deporter, I have to believe they're referring to turnarounds at the border as opposed to what Trump's doing.
That's totally different. Yep. The Obama numbers are cooked.
One other thing here. I know you're limited on time.
Yes.
I would have suggested if I was, if I had Trump's here, he maybe should have gone into red states to get the illegals out first. Because we're at war with the blue states. I'm talking about America. Some of these blue state Democrat leaders are un-American, and they're resisting ICE because they need the illegals for votes. But my suggestion would have been Trump should have started in red states like Kansas, Ohio, West Virginia. Every state is infested with illegals. But at least he would have had cooperation in the red states with the State Highway Patrol, local police. There's some blue cities in those red states, but the governor and the president, being red, would be able to overrun any Democrat commie mayor. But I guess Trump knows what he's doing. I just hope they bring in the Insurrection Act in Minneapolis. That's what I'd love to see. That's my hope, because it's got to come to a head here. Something's got to give.
It's like the same people from 2020. The same walls, the same scammers. And then it was like all right, we're bringing in the National Guard, and that ended, but Minneapolis
Well,
is the
I don't
best.
think he didn't.
It's kind of maybe a bit of a
declare-
stretch, but like I do connect it a little bit. Like it's the same like dynasty, the same like scam dynasty. I feel like I almost feel like they got away with it right in that era. Like no one looked over here. Now they're looking at him harder, and it's like
No, wait a minute.
agitation.
Who are you Oh, you're talking about the protesters. Well,
Yeah.
the difference between the George Floyd people and these people, it was more of a racial thing. So you had more blacks involved in fighting with the police and law enforcement. Here in Minnesota, I saw a few blacks protesting, but it's mainly white liberal women, and they're brainwashed male partners or whatever. That's what I see anyway. Maybe they're paid protesters from the outside. It's going to be interesting to see with all the fraud if the Republicans can take Minnesota back.
That's for sure.
Because I believe there are a lot of good white people in Minnesota, and probably more now seeing what's going on. So maybe there's hope over there. I don't know.
Yeah,
but I was. I don't mean to jump around, but I don't know if you saw this mayor in Miami.
You got call it 30 seconds, but go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to say quickly, the mayor in Miami, he's Hispanic, but he's of Jewish descent, and he kicked Nick Fuentes. He banned them from all the clubs, and from what I've heard in Miami Beach,
yeah, that's
for
what I heard
playing
too.
Yeah, that's totally unfair. That's unconstitutional. That I know that Nick and those guys know what the law is, but I don't know if we're going to pursue it. But I thought Miami or Miami Beach, actually, it's a separate city. I thought it was conservative Cubans who voted and always voted Republican. I was a little surprised.
I thought it was like right, like DeSantis in Florida. Like I don't know how else to put it, but
well, Miami Beach is like cosmopolitan liberal, but even there, for as long as I can remember, they've had Republican mayors because the anti-Castro commie Cubans, the good ones, are voting Republican. So, but I don't know what happened this time around. Just a fluke, I guess. I hope.
I don't know. It's a mess, but that's not thinking I agree with. Mark, man, I got to go. Can you call me again?
Yeah, I will do that. Thank you, sir. Have a good one. Bye.
All right, take care. Folks, that's it from me. Black Excellence tomorrow, Black Excellence Wednesday on the JLP show, the Hake Report, and, of course, more American Anchor, baby. Thanks for the support, the calls, and all that. That's it from me. Take care for now. See you tomorrow. Peace.
The views, information, thoughts, and opinions expressed during this show are the individual's own and do not represent the views, thoughts, and opinions of the JLP Network or Bond. Their appearance on the program does not imply an endorsement of them or any entity they represent. The material and information presented here is for general information purposes only. The JLP Network and Bond name and all forms and abbreviations are the property of its owner, and its use does not imply endorsement of or opposition to any specific organization, product, or service.